All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are here. So apologize. I apologize when your intro is playing and you hear it and you see it, and then you hear the intro playing again, and it was just nonstop, nonstop. I don't know what was going on, but I do apologize for that. I don't know. Maybe VK was playing it on his end. I don't know what was going on, but it was it was crazy because the intro's playing and then it playing again, and then the intro stops, and I play the other intro. And oh man, I was about to get a headache. It was crazy, but I apologize for those technical difficulties. But we are here. We are here on the Hash It Show. It is Jamboree week. It's about to go down, down, down. We are just a little bit 1 week away from season, not season, excuse me, the new season, baby, of high school football. And as you see, the other two guys are here. We have the one and only George Peppers and the other guy who parks next to you when there's 50,000 other parking spots open, VK Jones. What's up,
Oh,
George Pepper? How you doing, man?
man, listen, I was on the phone with VK. I hung up and then my Facebook, I looked at Facebook to see, to see if I could tag the show. And I run into your status with the parking. And I'm like, man, he about to start a fight. I didn't know it was VK. I was like, oh no, Jared, man, come on, bro. I thought you were about to get into a rumble. Then I see you get out the car. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Man, that was a laugh that I needed because it has been a very strenuous week with me at work. And I needed that laugh. I thank both of y'all for that. But I really, for about 10, 20 seconds, I thought, oh no, it's some random stranger you about to throw hands with. And I was going to see you at my workplace. I was like, and then I saw it was VK. And I was like, oh, okay. They ain't going to do all that. It's all hug it out, hash it out.
I
But
mean,
I needed that laugh.
you should have known it was if it was VK. This is what VK does. You should have known it was VK.
I should have, but I
Yeah, you
wanted,
should have
I
known.
wanted the, I wanted the element of mystery, though. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted the element of mystery. I get it. And look, I counted about 30 to 40 spots. I mean, from what I saw,
Thank you.
I don't know where you,
Thank you.
I don't know, I don't know where you, I don't know where you were. I don't know where that location was. I didn't get a good look at the location, but it looked about 30 to 40 spots, and I was like, my dog VK, I love you, bro, but damn. You parking right next to that man like that? Claustrophobia much?
The ignorance that you're hearing on the Hash It Out show, we do not prohibit
Oh
Thank
anything
shoot!
that comes from
ignorance, bro. Let's get that straight.
it.
Get
It
that
is.
straight. You saying that's ignorance? It's not ignorance.
It is.
Why park
It
next
is.
to one car in the parking lot? You gonna park next to that car, and all them other spots open. It's not ignorance on my part. It may be on
Here's how
your
we
part.
pro- here's
You
how
be
we prove
stupid.
it. Put it as a poll question on the Hash It Out show on the Hash It Out website.
he go.
That's
He
what
gonna
I would
lose.
do.
He
I,
gonna lose.
Oh, of
I
course he
think. I
would.
think you're gonna lose
No,
because
I'm not. Because most people that gonna park next to a car when they got 50 spots open.
some people
VK.
are going to say, "Really, you're crying over a spot.
No, they're gonna say
You're
you're
going to
dumb.
cry
They're
over
gonna
a
say
spot.
you're dumb because
They're
why would you
gonna
park next
say
to a
you're
car
crying
when
over a
other
spot.
spots are
You
open?
sound like
It's
a
common
grumpy old
sense,
man.
VK.
You sound like a
It's
grumpy
common
old man.
sense.
Grumpy
They're gonna
old
tell
men
you
do that.
don't park to another car next to another car when that's the only car there. Park
Don't
away. They're gonna tell you it's common sense.
man,
I'm not
grumpy
gonna say,
But
"Oh,
old
I'm
wait,
crying
men.
over milk." I
wait.
like
Grumpy old
milk.
men
Can I
fly like that.
If I
can
see
I
a
can
car in
I?
the parking lot by itself, I'm not parking by that car. I'm giving it space. Period.
All right. Can
VK.
I interject?
Yes, sir. You can
Yes, you
interject.
can.
Let's circle back. Let's talk about what we got tonight. We have a very special guest on tonight to talk high school football because, as Jared Boyd said, the CEO, we are a week away from real high school football. This week is Jamboree. It's the setup, it's the appetizer. Next week, we start diving into the main course. And if you saw our Facebook, our social medias, the schedule is out. We are going, at least right now, Saturday, September the 6th, I think is the date. McDonough 35 and VK's alumnus, the St. Augustine Purple Knights. It is a old rivalry renewed once again. They play each other every year. August had the measure of them over the last, I think, decade or so.
Yeah.
It should be an interesting encounter. Frank Daggs' team looks a little better. Og figures to be one of those, I don't want to say secondary contenders, but I think they're one of the main players in Division One Select. I really think they've got a chance to be, because remember, people forget. People forget they lost by a point at St. Thomas More last year. That is a team, and for Sean Coulon, a year's experience under the belt. The Purple Knights have a good football team, a better football team than last year, I think. So this sets up to be a very interesting week one with Mac 35. None of us will pick that game, obviously, because we calling it, but I'm looking forward to week one. I'm just saying, week one is coming. Just saying.
It's coming. It's coming, man. Your thoughts,
Absolutely.
VK? Your thoughts, VK?
Hmm. Well, George, thank you so much for getting us focused in our perspective.
We
Man,
focus.
But
We focus.
I'm
We
saying
focus.
getting out of what we was
Everybody,
talking
every
about.
look. He in his feelings, but everybody finds it
I'm not
funny
in my
on
feelings.
face. Yeah,
I'm
you are.
straight.
Yes, you were in
I'm
your
straight, big
feelings.
dog.
Yes,
You
you
see,
were.
the one thing you notice, you see me not going off. I'm good. So trust me on that. I know what Mr. Boyd is doing. So, but I think,
my
but I
psychology.
think, but I think week one is. I tell you, man, we're looking forward to what's going on and everything. I cannot wait. This week, like I said, is a preseason more than anything else. We'll get.
In a stretch limo,
Oh
Kenny.
my
In a stretch
god.
limo.
Oh my God,
In a stretch
Kenny's
limo.
funny. But I really think, we're getting a taste of what we're about to get. We're gonna get a nice showcase from some of these teams this week to get to see what we're gonna see. But then week one, it gets real. It gets real. We have some very interesting matchups for week number one, and then we get to week two. Each week, it's gonna get more interesting until we get to the districts, and then from the districts to the playoffs. So each week, it's always a story, and that's what we love to do on the Hash It Out show. Like, tag, share, subscribe if you love the Hash It Out show, and continue to support us. But at the same time, bro, we love what we do, and trust me, we will have some interesting stories all season long.
That's right. Interesting story. Just like this guy parked next to me with 50 spots open.
Oh
Simple as
man,
that.
golly, we're trying to talk
You
sports. Come on
still
now.
50
talking
spots
about the
open,
point?
baby.
See, this is why I say grumpy old man, dog. I'm
I ain't
not. I'm not
grumpy,
even
man.
tripping.
It's
I'm
just
not even
common
tripping,
sense,
dude.
bro. That's all I'm saying,
Which
bro.
one, VK? Walter Matthau or Jack Lemon?
Both,
Both.
both.
But no, I do want to give a big shout out because last week we had this man on our show and his team went out and produced a monster effort on Saturday, and that's Tommy Rabacki, the head coach of Nichols. What an incredible effort last Saturday on ESPN2, knocking off the number four team in the United States, Incarnate Word, a team that averaged north of 40 points a game the last couple of years, and they held them to a mighty total of six. Congratulations, coach, to Nichols, VK, to you, because you're a graduate. That is the kind of win, guys, that can jumpstart that team and really springboard them into some very big things this year. Not national championship, but I think a chance to winning the Southland and maybe finding a playoff game that could win the first round. But congratulations to the Colonels. What an effort by those guys.
What what a day on Saturday. I mean, it was a great day. Despite the fact JB, I'm gonna say is this: it was a brutal day weather-wise because it was
Hot.
really hot. Oh
Hmm.
my God, it was really really hot. My daughter was with me, and I was like, we had to leave after the third quarter. We didn't leave the stadium. We didn't park that far. We got in, turned on the car, turned on the AC on to get cool, and we watched the rest of the game online. And we seen the rest of what happened and everything. But it was a really, really great performance by Nichols. And the thing about Nichols and the scary part, and talking to a couple of fans and a couple of people who have some players that they're pretty close to, a couple of people were out that was kind of cogs to the Nichols offense. And they're expected to be back this week. And you might see a little more from the Nichols offense more than anything else. But for that being said, and I was wondering right then and there, I'm like, they need another touchdown because this defense has really held them. I don't know how much they got left, but credit gave for Tita and that call when Deuce Hogan, when they went with that play action pass and threw that deep touchdown to Karaj Johnson, that was big because man, I'm surprised with the. I'm like, They're going for the throat, and they went down the field, and Johnson was wide open, and I was like, wow. I'm like, that was a big play there to really catapult this Nichols team to the win and forcing 5 turnovers on the day. That is big for that defense. I tell you one thing, this is some big momentum going forward for Nichols, and Southland Conference has to look out right now because that's big. You hold a team like that, and you think about it, Nichols and Incarnate Word has taken maybe the last five Southland Conference championships. So that is big for Nichols to make a statement like that.
What's up, TC? Talking a little Nichols right quick. I was at the game. It was nice. I stayed through all 4 quarters, watched it all. You know,
And the
stayed
alumnus left after
hydrated.
the third quarter.
The who?
The alumnus left after the third quarter, and you stayed the
Hey,
whole way.
hey, hey,
If he told you that, I mean, if he
hey,
told
hey,
you that,
hey, the little girl couldn't
I
take it
get you.
anymore.
I listen. I'm just picking your brain. I'm just
Oh,
picking at you.
I'm just saying
I know.
I
Get out your
wanted her.
feelings, son.
I'm good. I'm just saying the fact that I was hoping she would survive it,
It was
but
that bad. Yeah, it
no,
was hot though. I'll say
because
that.
I ain't gonna lie. The crowd was big in the beginning. It was a
them
huge
suckers left at
crowd.
halftime.
Some left at halftime because
y'all ain't y'all ain't real fans.
no, that heat was brutal.
Fair
But
weather, huh, Jared?
it did not. I get where JB coming from. I'm not gonna knock him for what he's saying, but at the same time, it was really, really hot, dude. And I ain't gonna lie, some of the people was not gonna really take that heat, man. It was really a brutal type day. I went down at
I've been in
halftime,
worse.
huh?
I've been in worse.
No, see, but you've been in worse. You've been in worse. I'm not saying you haven't.
I have. I can tell you the 2 games I've been in that were worse. Louisiana Tech at Texas A&M. Oh, Jesus. I changed shirts 3 times. That's how bad that was. And then last year, Tulane at Louisiana Lafayette. Those were the 2 worst. That one, it was hot. I was good. You gotta stay hydrated.
I was
They
staying
had a couple
hydrated too.
people. A couple people fell out, but that Tulane, Louisiana Lafayette, bro, they were lined up of everybody who passed out. I was like, jeez.
I remember you called. I remember. I think we talked earlier. I think we talked later on that day. You told me about that. He was like, "Man, it was that bad, bro. They was wheeling them out." I said, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
But it was. But I'm not gonna say it was worse than Nichols, but it was pretty
I
bad
am.
in itself.
For me, I could
No,
say
for
it's
you
worse
it
because I
was.
was I was there at those games.
I know you was
Honestly.
there. I'm saying that. I'm saying I don't think the Thibodeau one might have been worse, but it was pretty bad
I
in
said,
itself.
in my opinion, you keep coming back at me like I'm going to say it is not worse, but I'm saying for me because I was at those games.
Right, you were there. No, you was there. No, I'm not disputing that. But it was a type of a brutal day, and I just know if it was not that hot, my daughter would really enjoy that game. You know what I'm saying? I said I can't bring you some of the hot games like that no more. I got to bring you somewhere when it's not that hot, and you would enjoy the game. Like I'll bring her around October, November, more
There
than
you
anything
go.
else, or
Yes, sir.
or late September, early November.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something. Maybe late
Yes.
September, not early, because
She does not like the
bro,
heat, man. She does
no,
not.
she don't. And
What's up,
even
Troy Narcisse?
and she drinks water. That's the trip part. The girl drinks water. Not too many children. Some children, if they drink water, that's a great habit. But a lot of times you don't see them children drink water. They do like we want the Kool-Aid, they want the cold drink. I wouldn't they be water? I'd be like, no. But my daughter is like, I want water. Okay,
She want water, bro. Yes,
good.
sir. Yes,
Cool.
sir. Yes, sir. She did. Hey, Troy. Troy, I got a question for you. Answer this question for me, Troy. You pull up in a parking lot. You're the only car there, and you park. And you're
Shoot.
waiting for your partner to show up, and your partner parks next to you. He parks. Look at him. Where you going, bro? Don't run. Your partner parks
Ain't
next to
running.
you, directly next to you, and there's 50 other spots open. What would you say to your partner? Like, what would you say? Would you be like, why you didn't park in another
That's
spot
these
further
hands.
from me? Or you okay with it? Because I was like, I don't know why the dude parked next to me with 50 spots open, but I'm gonna start messing with my man VK because I got what I wanted on Facebook. Everybody finds it funny. and I got what I wanted. But next time, he not gonna park next to me. Anyway, we going to a commercial break, and when we come back, we have NOLA.com's own, our good friend Joseph Halm is going to join us. He's going to talk about the North Shore. Some of these North Shore teams he's going to talk about with us right here on the Hash It Out Show.
Are you in need of a new windshield? Leo Autoglass can help. For 20 years, Leo Autoglass have been servicing the New Orleans area with windshield replacement and auto glass repair. Give them a call today, 504-301-8353.
Hey y'all, this is Jen Hale from Fox Sports. You're watching the Hash It Out Show with JB the Sports Guy, VK Jones, and George Peppis.
Did you experience storm damage from Hurricane Francine? Barretto Home Solutions can help. You can give them a call at 504-940-7552.
Green Law Firm is a full-service law firm specializing in personal injury, criminal law, successions, and family law. With over 25 years of experience, the Green Law Firm continues to provide efficient, competitive, and effective representation to clients throughout the state of Louisiana and all across the nation. Consultations are free. If you're looking for results, call the Green Law Firm at 504-328-3990. That's 504-328-3990, located at 931 Westwood Drive, Suite B in Marrero, Louisiana. The Green Law Firm.
And welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm JB the Sports Guy with VK Jones and George Peppis. Joining us now is our good friend, and he has some articles up already on NOLA.com that you can go and read about some of the North Shore teams. There it is. Oh, yeah. You know football is here, baby. The one and only, our good friend, Joseph Halm. What's up, Joseph? What's going on, man?
I'm the happiest man in America. I got my tab done. It's printed. I don't. There's not a typo in there. I don't care if you find one. Don't let me know about it. It's beautiful. So I'm just
Oh,
excited. The
God.
season's ready to go, man.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the North Shore teams. And I'm going to start off with a team that played for a state championship. And let's get VK mad again because we had a bet and he lost a bet due to a replay. And that had Cecilia win the championship. We talk about those Franklinton Demons. They bring back a lot of players, even a starting quarterback. What can you say about Coach Nick Salterformaggio's team?
I mean, they're going to be really good. Period. Josh Crane's a great quarterback. He's going to do well again. I'll be curious to see how they replace, Cy. He was a really great running back, but I think Coach Schultz got a committee that's going to do just fine. I was at that quarterfinal game because they played Lakeshore in that game, and I've never seen Coach call so cold. It was a freezing night that night, but I think that was the best game I saw all year, like live and in person, just for the quality of football and the back and forth and what they had to do to win that game. I joked before the game with both coaches. I said, well, whoever wins this will probably see you in the dome. And they say, don't put that on me, Joe. I said, no, guys, y'all are going to be okay. These are two state championship, playing four level teams. And thankfully I was right. So I think they're going to be tremendous. It's a shame that Lakeshore and Franklinton have to play in week 6. They open district play, so that they're going to play each other in what's going to be a great game at the Coliseum. And I don't know who's going to win that game. I give Franklinton the edge, but Lakeshore is pretty doggone good right now. I mean, I am. It's funny. I met with Greg Salter earlier today. I was delivering some of the tabs, and he gave me a little bit of joshing because I had him losing to Franklinton. He's looked at the record. He goes, "You have us losing to Franklinton. That's your prediction." I go, "Yeah, it's a learning experience for you. Also, they're really good." He goes, "Yeah, you're probably right," but he just sort of laughs it off because now I think we've seen these teams play in a scrimmage maybe. Who knows what they're going to look like in week 2 and week 6 and week 10. But Franklinton's going to be a team that's going to be really, really good this year.
Okay. I want to move over a little bit and talk about the defending district champions, the St. Paul Wolves. I know they got 2 great running backs that they have. What can you say about the Wolves of St. Paul's?
You hit it right on the head. I mean, those 2 running backs are are going to be special in that offense. Little Kenny Sears, we like to call him, the OC, Ken Sears' son. He's licking his chops at what they can do. They both were injured at different points last season. Cody Corrales hurt himself early in the year. He came back. Troy Willis hurt his collarbone in week 9, so he didn't get to play in the playoff game against Bird. I think that really hurt St. Paul's a lot. They're both fully healthy right now. They're ready to carry that load. But I think the biggest thing for St. Paul's is I didn't know who was going to replace Brennan Kime at quarterback. He's a 3-year starter. And this Brady Pearson kid, he's a junior, has been really good. He looked good in the Pie Bowl. He looked good, in the scrimmage. They played Curtis. He had some good and some bad, but he had more good than bad against a good team, right? So I think that's the biggest key for them besides health is that if those two running backs stay healthy, they can compete with anybody. And if Brady Pearson grows up like he has progressed so far from the spring to the summer and he keeps that trend, that's a team that's going to be really hard to beat offensively. And they've got enough starters back on defense to be a tough team. That's what St. Paul's does. Dylan Post is back at linebacker. Brett West is back at linebacker. They're gonna be okay defensively at worst. So if that offense can be what they think it's going to be, they're a scary team.
Okay. I want to move into the Slidell district pretty much, where a Slidell team didn't win the district championship last season. That was the Chalmette Owls, Coach Jason Tucker's team. They bring back some experience, especially even linebacker Tyree Darrensburg. What can you say about the Owls of Chalmette?
Darrensburg's a real deal. I'm glad you mentioned him, but they return 15 to 18 starters, depending on how you slice it. And they were a team that grew up so much last year. I saw them early in the year when they played Lakeshore. Lakeshore beat them, and I thought, Lakeshore looked head and shoulders above them. And then you see they went through the district undefeated. They're going to be a team that should be really hard to beat. They made that run last year, to the quarters. That was a huge deal. They got hot at the right time. Now I think the biggest question for them is how do they handle success? Because it's a different level when you're fighting to gain respect and where everybody's got a target on your back now this year because they're the defending district champs. They brought back a lot. Everybody's pretty high on them, and they should be. But how do you handle that success? And I think that whole district's gotten better, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned Slidell. I really think Slidell can do something this year. They took some lumps last year. They were super young. They've started a lot of sophomores. And I talked with Coach Page for some of the previews, and he mentioned, these weren't guys going from JV to varsity. These were guys playing freshman football. And all of a sudden, we threw them out there on Friday nights. And, that's a big ass, right?
Yeah.
That's a big ass. And I think they got better for that. And I think their confidence is better. They've got a lot of skill. Ricky Williams, I think, is a good quarterback. Juan Jones is a great running back. I think they can do something. They can do a little more this year, especially if they get a few wins early, get a little confidence. All of a sudden, things are going. They got Salmon at home this year. That's a big rivalry game. I think they're a team to really look out for. And Salmon's always got speed. Their offense looks electric. It all depends on how John Howard at quarterback does. I think, he's got more experience than people know. He started at free safety last year. It's not like it's his first time on the field, at the varsity level. So I think that's another team that, the district came down to Salmon and Chalmette last year. I think it'll probably come down to them again. This year, obviously, Salmon's going to host last year's game with that Chalmette. It was a 1-score game. I would expect something similar this year. It's just that district is going to be fun in terms of, I think, every team. It's not, maybe not even. I think Chalmette's still the cream of that district, but I think every team is either A, going to compete really well with Chalmette, and B, in all those other district games, I just want to see who's going to win and get hot at the right time.
Go ahead, George Peppers.
Joseph, first off, on behalf of our host, thank you for making the time to joining us. And hey, man, I share the same enthusiasm as you for football because it is here, it is happening. Week 0 was just a little sample, but guess what? We got big stuff coming this week and next. But I want to start. With a team that perennially is good every year. They lose Shepherd, and but I think the Mandeville Skippers, where are they in your estimation this year? What do you feel like they are? Are they in transition, or do you think they're a team that still could be one of those teams that we could find playing on Thanksgiving week?
They're a team that has the ability to do that for sure. Obviously, Nate Shepard's special. So anytime you have to replace that type of guy, it's going to be a transition. The good news for Mandeville is that they have Ben Hendricks back. They have at quarterback. They have Jackson Quinn back, who's going to slot into running back role. He's not Nate Shepard, but he's a good running back, and he's going to be able to do a lot of things. Mandeville's had a lot of success in the freshman and JV level the last 2 years, and all of those guys are now coming into the varsity level. So I think when I talked to Craig Jones, he was most excited about the fact that this is year 4 for him at Mandeville, um, and they have a lot of success. Those guys have experienced a lot of success. They performed at a high level. He feels like they can transfer that on to the varsity level. Are there going to be some growing pains? Obviously, that's what happens when you go up each level. But I think it's a team that when they play St. Paul's in week 9, that game, in my opinion, will probably decide the district championship. And I think both of those teams will be, it'll be another tight game. That game was decided by a field goal last year. I would put the line at 2.5, 3.5 if we had, a betting line on this game. Like
Right.
it's just what it is. It's going to be a one possession, game. And I think Mandeville has the ability, if they can grow up at receiver and find the replacements for the linebackers. They graduated 2 great linebackers last year who did a good job. They've got guys they feel are good, and there's no doubt that they very well could be. It's just a matter of how those guys slot into that position. And but 2 years ago when they made the semifinal run, Ben Hendricks took
Mhm.
over in week 9 and they got hot. I could completely see that again. Only instead of Ben Hendricks taking over, it's those wide receivers sort of growing up and becoming that extra little threat they need to win against high quality teams.
Going across the away in the Mandeville, well, Covington. Let's talk about Greg Salter's Lions because that's a team that was ravaged last year. Beset by a lot of just bad luck, injuries, and what of the like. It's a team that has a chance to rebound and really do some things, in my estimation. What do you see from Greg Salter and his Lions? And look, you've already mentioned about they have a date with Lakeshore, and Coach Salter says they're probably better. But what do you see Covington in relation to what they can be this year, if
I
healthy?
think Covington's biggest question is who's going to be quarterback. Caden Hendrick was so good last year. They've got 2 guys competed for it. They're 2 different guys in Andrew Reynolds and Matthew Fusel. One's a pocket passer, one's more like Caden. He's going to be a dual threat. It really depends on that position. They've got 2 tremendous receivers in Amari Smith and Juwan Brock, who are next level guys. Those guys can be special. They've got some decent running backs that I think are going to be able to shoulder enough of the running load. It's just a matter of which quarterback steps up and gets comfortable in the offense and can do enough positive plays. Because football games. Eric Shooter and I talk about this all the time over at Salmon. Football games decided on like 5 or 6 plays, Joe. We're always looking to win those 5 or 6 plays. And he's right when you get 2 equal teams that those are the plays that are going to make a difference. So it's a matter of can the quarterback A, avoid turning the ball over, and B, when the guy's open down the middle, does he hit him in stride and it's a touchdown, or does he overthrow him and the drive gets killed? I think I
Hmm.
think Covington has a real shot. I mean, they were really good. They stood toe to toe with Mandeville and St. Paul's last year. They won a decent amount of games. They won the playoff game at home. There's a lot of momentum there, and they've got a good defense. Demarcus Scott, the linebacker, is going to have a breakout season. I'm telling you right now, he's outstanding.
Okay.
They've got a lot of they've got a lot of guys returning on that end. It's just a matter of quarterback, and the offensive line's new. Now they're not inexperienced. They played some last year, but none of those guys were full time starters last year. So I
Hmm.
think he feels. I haven't seen Greg Salter this excited about what can be in a little while, because I think he's always gone into a season sort of knowing this is where we are. And I think the ceiling this year is a lot higher in terms of I think they're solid right now, but their growth potential is exceptional. So it's just a matter of avoiding injuries, right? We always say that all the time.
Hmm.
And B, the quarterback figuring out. I know that I am probably offensive biased. That's just how I am. But the biggest question in my mind is their quarterback, just because Caden Heck was exceptional last year. And, how do they replace him?
Going into the Slidell area, Jared actually about Slidell, but I want to mention their rivals, the Salmon Spartans. It's a team that has past history of winning a lot. They've had some playoff appearances over the last few years. Where do you see them this year?
Last year Salmon played Mandeville in that monsoon game in week one, where it just sort of rained everywhere in week one, and that game got out of hand quick, and that was a turning point in Salmon's season, in that they got out of that game, they got their butts kicked, and they changed their offense. I'll give Eric Shooter a lot of credit for adjusting. They moved Jimmy Chansey, who's back this year, to running back, and that dude runs violent. He is heavy behind his pads. He had over 1,000 yards last year. He's back. He looks great. With him as their running back, I think they can do a lot of things, because they've got 3 or 4 receivers that are all big and strong and fast. They've got the quarterback, who's not back, but he played free safety last year. I think Dejon Howard's going to have a good season. It's just a matter of him fully taking over the team. But to have Chansey back, to have the ability to run the ball like they do, and to be able to spread out teams, because they're going to have that team's going to hit some home runs this season. It's a matter of, can they grind some drives out, when they miss, when they swing and miss, when they take a home run shot. I think they can be a
Well,
pretty solid team.
last question before I turn it to VK Jones. Where will you be Friday night? Which jamboree are you going to watch?
Which jamboree am I going to watch? I'm going to watch the one at
Yes.
the beach, because the wife has told me that we're going to the beach, and it's the
Sweet.
last trip. It's the last trip before I can't ever
Football.
leave here again.
I
So
got you.
I will be at the beach, but I have my team of freelancers all out and about. And Salmon's one of the games, because they're playing Covington, which should really be a good jamboree.
So it's safe to say it's the last honeydew trip before we get going on football, right?
Every summer she's asked me why I'm around so much, and every fall she asks me, where am I at all the time? So
Oh
we're
wow.
getting to that. Where you're so
Gotcha.
busy now? Oh yeah,
No
I know,
doubt.
honey. I'll be busy till Thanksgiving.
VK.
Joseph Halm, man, what's going on with you, bro? We appreciate you being on. I gotta ask you first on probably one of the biggest surprises in the North Shore last season, and they're looking to try to make more moves this year, and that's Pope John Paul, especially the coach Philip Pigot, who done a great job with the program last season, probably maybe the most wins that the program has had in a long time. What do you see this season with Pope John Paul?
They're in a good spot. They're in a really great spot. He's done a tremendous job. Pikett's been tremendous. Got a winning record. I never thought I'd no disrespect to St. Paul, but this is going to be his fifth season, sixth season. He's got a winning record over that time frame. They've increased their win total every year the last 4 years, which is just outstanding. The biggest thing for them is Dominic Smith is back. Their running back, he tore up his knee in week 2 last year. He plays fullback for them in that wing tee. That was a big. They missed him a lot. That kid is a strong kid, and in that position, he's coming off of I think it was a 1,400-yard season as a sophomore, and he had 2 good games already under his belt, and then that went under. So him back is good. He looks 100%. They're also breaking in a new quarterback. Blaze Rodriguez graduated after 3 years as a starter. Austin Franzone is going to be their quarterback. He looks good. I think he can run the wing tee just fine. But Pope has probably as much talent across the board as they've had since Pikett's been there. They're strong. They're fast. They've got some good linebackers in the back on defense. Aiden Fairchild was very good in the secondary. He's going to be a big part of it. And more importantly, that's a confident program now. Before, I remember when I took over this job, might have been the second year, they went to Haynes, and I covered it because they were going to get above 500 for the first time in like a decade. And that was like a benchmark for them now, right? Like that was like, and they won that game. It was, like they won the Super Bowl, and they had a decent season that season. Last year, they won 9 games in a playoff game. This year, they're like there's no, hey, we just want to win a playoff game. There's, hey, we want to be playing on Thanksgiving. Hey, we want to make it to the quarters. There's that sort of energy around the team, and they have the talent to do it. And most importantly, Pigott's OC is Artie Liuza. Wayne Grubb is also working with running backs. He had so much success at Slidell. There's a lot of there's just a lot of experience in that room, and it's been there for a while, and you can see the results of a consistent program building. So I would say Pope is going to be a fun team to watch this year.
Absolutely. Let's talk about another team that's continuing to improve near the tangible whole area. That is Hammond, the Hammond Tours, and Coach Buckles. Coach Buckles has continued to thrive and thrive with the program, and getting his team over 500 and having a chance to get in the postseason. What does this team look like this year, and do they have a chance to compete maybe for not just playoffs, but maybe a chance to be in a district race?
The word that I get when I talk about because when the North Shore district split up in the east and western halves, Ponche and Hammond went with St. Paul's, Mandeville, and Covington on that western half. And that's such a tough district. But every year, every coach, Salter, Sears, all of those guys mentioned how tough of a game that's becoming. And that's a credit to what Dorset Buckles has done. Hammond was a game that, you knew they had athletes, but you felt like you were safe in that game as long as you performed well. Now that's a game that they put on there and say, we've got to come up with, we got to execute a game plan right. We got to have some things go our way. And I think, Hammond beating Ponche these last 2 years has been huge for that school's psyche, because that, what was that, 5-6 years ago Ponche was in the dome. They're sort of a benchmark. So I think them beating that has come back, and they return so many starters. They have so many athletes that Hammond's a team where I do my district rankings and I put them in fourth because St. Paul's, Mandeville, Covington, and then them, and I go, that's a team that could, if they get a break or two, be playing for a district championship, depending on how things break out for them. I mean, they're really that talented. It's just a matter of, do they take that step forward? Because that side of the parish is so well coached, and it's so hard to win every year. And that's just the level that I think I get spoiled with. Because when I saw Mandeville, Covington, when I saw St. Paul's, Mandeville, those are just good football games. I just think back and think about, that was good football, two good teams. It comes down to 5 plays. Can Hammond win those 5 plays in the games against the teams that are perennial powers? And the answer is, yeah, they really can. So I that's a team to watch. I'm glad you brought them up. They really are a solid squad.
Can't forget about this other team as well. I don't know if it's too far out, but Jewel Sumner. How much have been making progress? And they are the defending district champions from last season. What do you see in Jewel Sumner?
Yeah, that's a team that, again, has been on the rise. And you mentioned the district championship last year. They bring back a decent amount. I think they should, I don't want to say business as usual, but all of those words that I just said, the last 3 sentences, should apply to the team this year. They really are a solid bunch. And that's a team that maybe, 5 years ago, I sort of was in the back of my mind. I didn't really pay attention. Now it's a team that when I turn on my highlights on Friday night, you see them and you look at the reports and you say, this is a really solid team. And I think we'll see the same thing again this year.
Deeper and Tangible Whole Parish, 2 teams that have strived and everything every year, but looking possible big things. Let's start off with the A-Meet Warriors, and looks like they're returning a good bit. And what an interesting test for them. They host Franklinton for week 1. What do you think about that matchup, or what do you think about what A-Meet has this year in Zephaniah Powell?
Get your popcorn ready. That matchup's going to be fun, man. I mean, you don't usually get that good of a game in week 1, right? There are certain games that you get, but that's up there with games that I would want to see live. And I knew you were going to ask me about A-Meet, so I was just searching through. He got to 100 wins. Powell got to 100 wins last year. They had an 8-4 season, and people are mad. Can you imagine that going 8-4, and that's the level they're at? You go 8-4, and all of a sudden people are like, well, we got to do better, and that's just the level they've been at for so long now that it's a testament to what Coach Powell has done over there, and what a great test in week one. But then both of those teams are going to win a lot of games. So what a great PowerPoint game. It's not often that you can get both of those in a non-district opponent where you get a team where A, it's going to test you and it's going to be really good. And B, you're both probably going to have a lot of wins and it's going to help you at the end of the season. I mean, that's the biggest part of that. You get the experience on the field, and then you also get the boost in the power ranking. So if you're bored, if you ain't got nothing else to do on week one, although I do recommend that Mandeville Salmon game. I'll be at Lakeshore Fountain Blue in week one. I got to give my Titans some love, but the A-Meet game is going to be a really, really good one.
See, well, I got to tell you, man, I think it's going to be, I agree with you. It's going to be a good one too. Cause like I said before, like Franklinton is a great team. They're going to be really good, but I'm telling you, it's not easy to win at A-Meet. Ask Manny a couple years ago who won the state championship. It came down to 2 last possessions for Manny to hold on with the win. So trust me, it is not an easy place to get a win.
You may not be able to park, but at least you're right about that. So that's good for you.
Absolutely.
Hey, VK, say that when it comes to the picks. Carry on.
Oh, whatever, man. Whatever. Somebody. Well, I'm not gonna say that. But at the same time, I gotta ask you also the other team I'm talking about, Amy's rival, the Kentwood Kangaroos. We're expecting some big things for Kentwood. They were very young last year. We actually did the Amy Kentwood game last year. A very good ball game it was, and we was amazed how competitive Kentwood was and stayed in the ball game and everything, and how young they were, and especially with their coach explaining everything to us. And I'm like, they got a great future. And the way it's looking, the future might be now for Kentwood. What do you see in the Kentwood Kangaroos?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're talking about a team that made the semifinals last year, albeit in Division Four Select. So it's a different level to some degree, but that's a team that you're talking about how young they are, and they still made the semifinals in their division. That shows you how talented they are and how much they grew up. They returned a bunch. They just keep coming, man. They're always a solid team, and I always think at some point you're going to have not a down year, but a down year for them, and they just keep coming, and I would expect them to be even better this year. There's no reason to think that the experience they gained last year and the success that they had won't translate into this year when they're a year older and a year wiser.
Last question, I'm gonna give it back to JB on this one. Name a team in the North Shore that nobody's talking about that could be under the radar that might surprise some people this year.
It's going to surprise some people. I'm not going to say no one's talking about them, but we didn't talk about them as North Lake Christian. They've got a senior class that's special. Their numbers are a little down. They're going to need to stay healthy. But Cameron Casnave, Jordan Willis, he's a guy that's, I think, going to really break out this year. Coach James Willis's son, he's got a chance to be really good. Charlie Gilmore, they've got as good at skill positions in those 3 guys as any team anywhere. I mean, those guys are legit players, and Casnave has been for a long time. Willis has grown into himself. Charlie's grown into himself. They're going to have a battle on a Thursday night with Pope that's probably going to decide that district championship. And they know this is their year. Like, that senior class knows that when they came in as 7th graders, the bulk of them came in and gone through North Lake Christian the whole way through. They know this is it. This is when you're supposed to put it together. So I think couple that skill position with the fact that they've got some real size on the line. Now, do they have the amount of depth that they need on the line? I think their top 7 on the line are as good as any top 7 on the line they've had in their history. So if those guys stay healthy, there's no reason to think they can't go quarters semis if they get a good break, if they get a good seed, that sort of thing. But they're a team that I'm super excited about too. And I mean, and I think the team on the North Shore is still Lakeshore. I'll put it out there now. That team, they came a point away from, sending against Franklinton in a game that went back and forth. They got all the running backs back. Indes is in year 4. He's excited. Like, he is legitimately excited. And that man is always tempering down. Like, he'll tell you what he thinks. And he is legitimately excited about this team. And there's good reason for that. So, I mean, I think they're the team to beat on the North Shore, but I think a lot of people are talking about them. But I would watch out for North Lake Christian. They're a really good football team.
All right. Our good friend, Mr. Joseph Halm. Hey, I just want to ask you, what week is that, VK? Help me out. Hammond and Mandeville. Is that week 7?
I think that's 7, sir.
Week 7. Will you be at Hammond, Mandeville week 7?
I mean, depending on how things play out, I can't rule it out.
Okay.
I don't know where I want to be tomorrow. We got to see how this season plays
out. I got you. Understand. We are actually going to broadcast that Hammond and Mandeville game at Hammond in week 7.
That's a good game. Let me tell you, any Hammond game in Tornado Alley, especially as the season goes on, the fans are great and the team gets better every year. That's a game that Mandeville knows is going to be tough, and Hammond is not sleeping on the fact that they want to start stacking wins and they want to compete for a district title. It's got to start then.
There you go. We'll be there. And so if you happen to be there, let us know, my friend. It'd be good to see
I
you
will.
again. Definitely. The one and only Joseph Halm. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Definitely. The one and only Joseph Halm of NOLA.com now. And like I said, he has some articles up on NOLA.com right now that he put up about 14 hours ago. So you can go read about Pearl River, Franklinton, Lakeshore, all that good stuff. You can read about the North Shore. And I'm sure he has more to put up before the season. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the jamborees that are happening Thursday and Friday right here on the Hash It Out Show.
At Bayou AV Security, we are your one-stop shop for all your needs, whether it's enhancing your home entertainment system, securing your property, ensuring a seamless internet connection, or illuminating your outdoor spaces. We've got you covered. Bayou AV Security, where technology meets reliability. Call us today to experience the Bayou difference.
JFK Martial Arts offers a wide variety of martial arts programs for kids, teens, and adults as they empower lives through martial arts. Please give them a call at 985-266-0664 and don't forget to ask about their 1-week free special. Feeling drained from the constant noise in your daily life? Immerse yourself in pure audio bliss with drums. Experience a world of crystal clear sound, free from distractions. Discover the ultimate relaxation and escape into an oasis of serenity. Grab yours today. drumsworld.com.
And we are back on the Hash It Out Show. And like I said, coming up on Thursday, we have some jamborees. And I really don't know which one I'm going to yet. I mean, I'm going to be at one of them on Thursday. I mean, I know where I'm going on Friday, but I'll be at one of them come Thursday. But I mean, I want to let y'all know what they got going on. You know, VK was talking about going to the River Parish Jam on Friday, but he definitely changed his mind. Like I knew he would. You know, I just know my friend so well. You know.
You're making BK mad.
I'm not trying to make you mad, brother. I'm really not. I promise you, I'm not. But let's get to these Thursday jamborees. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. So, the Albany Jamboree. You have Ponchatoula JV versus Albany JV. Ponchatoula versus Jewel Sumner. Then Laranja versus Albany. You got Battle on the Monitor Jamboree at St. Michael. Riverside at Episcopal. Well, Riverside versus Episcopal. Pearl River versus Ascension Catholic. North Iberville versus St. Michael. The Ben Franklin Jamboree, and I don't know where that's at. I don't know where it's at, but it says the Ben Franklin Jamboree. Ascension Christian versus Ben Franklin, then Ascension Christian versus St. Thomas Aquinas, and then St. Thomas Aquinas versus Ben Franklin. Then you have the Fisher Jamboree. And let me put it up for y'all. Let me do that. Let me put it up. I want y'all to see all this. So I ain't gonna be the only one looking at it. Y'all can see it too. All right, there it is. Boom. All right. So the Fisher Jamboree, you have Homer versus Fisher. And I wonder if that's at Fisher High. Because at Horse Memsaw is the Higgins Jamboree. Boga Luther versus Riverdale. Landry versus Higgins. You have the Independence Jamboree. Springfield versus Independence. JV at 6, varsity 6:30. Joe Yenny, the John Curtis Christian Jamboree. Homer Christian versus Fisher. John Curtis versus East Jefferson. You got the Edna Carr Jamboree. 2 teams, West Jeff versus Carr at Berman for 6:30. Live Oak, Hammond at Live Oak. North Shore, Jesuit versus North Shore. 9th grade JV and varsity. You got the St. Michael's with Riverside. I already said that one. And you got the Varnado versus Warren Easton. Guys, so let's talk in the car and West Jeff. Go ahead, VK. What are your thoughts?
Well, you'll see pretty much a showcase between these two teams here, the defending state champions. They're gonna put a little something on. You know, what I'm saying? They're not gonna show too much. They're gonna try to save everything until they week one opponent. And this is West Jeff's chance to really compete and to try to, and what a way to try to get things going for them is against Carr, playing them for 2 quarters. So it's going to be interesting in itself, but more for West Jeff if they going to try to compete against the defending state champs. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think Coach Bryce Brown's going to reveal everything.
I don't think so either. I don't think he's gonna, do all that. But what's your thought, George Peppers, on that jamboree?
As far as West F Car, look, like VK said, it's a proving ground for the Bucks. They've just had a miserable run of things over the last few years, and they're looking for any kind of positivity. Jamborees aren't meant. I mean, if you win, great. It doesn't count. The main thing is obviously to get out healthy and go to week one in tip top shape. Carr's not going to reveal a lot of their secrets. I mean, you get to see John Johnson, in that jamboree. I mean, you get a small sample size of what's going to happen. I think Vito's right that it's going to be vanilla because I don't think you want to throw your hand out there. It's like poker, man. You're not going to throw trip aces out there and just throw it right out the box.
Right.
No, you just want to hold back and look. They got a big showdown in week one against a team they really dominated last year, and they're going to look to make an early statement against again this year, Shaw, and they get them at home this time. This game with West Jeff for the Buccaneers, it's again a proving ground for them. Um, and it would be just incumbent. Would not be prudent for us to pick these games, but we're not going to. We should do it for practice. Maybe I'm just kidding when I say that. But I think the biggest lure for me is that West Jeff trying to get on a kind of a proving ground and get a foundation set with their second year coach because now they've actually given a coach a second year. Over the last 3 years, that hasn't happened. Now they've given that. So, and I don't want to say things are great. They're not. Just there's a lot of turbulence there. But they're going to look for any kind of positivity going forward. And if they play Carr close, then that's something they can draw to and move into the regular season and say, you know what, we're going to outdo what the experts may have for us.
Let me say this about this jamboree, because I'm kind of like, this is good for West Jeff playing some good competition, and then again I'm like, if things don't go right against Edna Carr, could their confidence be shot going into week 1 and week 2 and so on? George, you're saying no, but I just saw West Jeff against Carver. And you can say they dominated Carver. Carver didn't look that well. Coach Fig, I talked to him after the game. He was very unhappy with how his team played. West Jeff were happy. They celebrated like they won a real game. So they feeling good. Now you're going to play the best team in the state in the jamboree. And that is the only thing I have in my mind, because West Jeff hasn't developed a winning mentality yet. They haven't. It's not there. Coach Marcel Andrews doing a great job. If Edna Carr beats them big in this jamboree, then I'm hoping that they can shake that off and move towards week 1. Look ahead. I just don't want it to be where they lose and then their confidence and self-esteem is just shot. I don't want that for West Jeff. I want them to compete as hard as they can and get better by playing tougher competition. That's what I want for West Jeff. And I hope that's the case. I hope they can say, hey, we gave it our best. We didn't beat these guys. Let's move to next week and let's try to win that game. That's what I want to see with that one. John Curtis versus East Jeff. VK, what your thoughts right quick?
John Curtis and East Jeff. Wow, I think this is the first time they're playing one another in a long, long time, and this is everything coming to full circle. JT Curtis going against his alma mater.
Yeah.
Wow. I think like it's gonna be just like the West Jeff and Carr game. I think Curtis, they're not gonna reveal everything, and East Jeff with the new coaching staff and everything, and under Carl Williams and his first game as head coach and everything, at first jamboree as head coach, just to see if his squad can compete against this good Curtis team. That's the biggest thing, is just to step up and compete. And you don't want to put all your eggs in one jamboree game. You just really want to give it all you have, but at the same time, compete. They know how traditional the Curtis program is, but at the same time, if EJ wants to send a message, knowing that, hey, we competed against a really good program here, and we're gonna do what we can to have a good season despite what we went through. We're the defending district champions, so that's a mentality they're trying to regain, even with the new coach, the new coaching staff this season.
All right. Go ahead, George Peppers.
East Jefferson had a magical year last year, and yeah, they were a little fortuitous winning that district considering how it happened. But then Brian Glover and company left up, and where did he wind up? Was it a Strum? Not a Struma, was it?
Struma. He said
Struma.
it's
It
Struma.
was
He
a
said it.
Struma. Okay, I was right. So East Jeff, as VK mentioned, transitions to a new coaching staff. That will be interesting how that plays out. John Curtis, it's tried and true. They're going to try to make some sort of an opening statement, and ahead of the regular season, because they know how tough the matchups get there. And then, of course, the Catholic League being the degree of difficulty that it is, one of the most difficult districts in the state, bar none. I think Curtis has a team that has a chance to make some semblance of an impact in that league. And that's crazy to say that they're not the favorite, because Etna Carr has walked in and kicked the door down and really run things. But as reference to this game, I'd say the Warriors have a chance to make a little bit of a proving ground here against John Curtis. Granted, it's a jamboree, but still, any semblance of victory would be a very big positive for the Warriors of East Jeff. They could just walk into the regular season with their chests out and say, "We knocked off John Curtis. We could beat a lot of teams."
I want East Jeff to make this competitive. That's all I want. Make this competitive. East Jeff defending district champions, so those guys know what it feels like to have to have a winning attitude right now. They've experienced that last season. So they're going up against Curtis. I want them to make it competitive. That's what I want. East Jeff can be competitive with Curtis. Look out, district 10-5A, I believe. 10-5A.
Yes,
Look out.
got
Look
it.
out. Because these guys looking to make a statement and saying, hey, we won it last year. We want to win it again. That's what I want to see. Can they make that competitive against John Curtis? All right, let's go to Friday. Let's go to Friday jamborees. The Archbishop Hannon Jamboree, Country Day at Archbishop Hannon. I tell you what, Coach Powell, he got those basketball players, man, and my goodness, we talking about Kellen Brewer, Curtis McAllister, Herb Dyson. He got all three of them. He gonna be launching that thing left and right to those players, man. My goodness, I like they Country Day might do some damage with those guys. 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". My goodness. The Baker Jamboree, Fountain Blue at Baker. The Bonneville Jamboree at Joe Yenny. First game, Covenant Christian against Jefferson Rise, and then Young Audience Charter versus Bonneville. You got the Chalmette Jamboree, Bell Chase against Holy Cross, and then South Plaquemines against Chalmette. The Christian Brother Jamboree, Archbishop Rummel at St. Paul's. JV plays first, then the varsity. The Collegiate Academies Jamboree at Joe Brown. Got Collegiate against Cohen first for 3:30. Abramson against Livingston for 5:30. Carver against Sarah T. Reed for 7:30. East St. John Jamboree, St. Charles against East St. John, JV first, then varsity. Ed Daniels Classic at Joe Zimmerman Stadium. That's on the campus of Archbishop Shaw. Brother Martin against John Everett at 5:30. St. Augustine versus Shaw at 7. The Kenner Discovery Jamboree at Mutz Bertolino. The Willow versus Haynes. And then St. Martin's Episcopal versus Kenner Discovery. The Lafourche Terrebonne Jamboree at Thibodeau High. Central Lafourche versus South Terrebonne. Ellender versus Thibodeau. I would name that the Bayou Parishes Jamboree. But hey, I have no say in that. We got the Mandeville Jamboree, Franklinton versus Mandeville. That should be a good one. The McDonough 35 Jamboree at Pan American, McMain versus Booker T. Washington. Then Kennedy versus 35. That should be a good one. The Newman Jamboree is always a good one every year. De La Salle and Newman. That's a good one every year. Pine Jamboree, North Lake Christian at Pine. Pope John Paul II Jamboree, Morris Jefferson versus Thomas Jefferson. And then Patrick Taylor versus Pope John Paul II. The River Parish Jamboree at Lutcher High School. This is going to be a big one. Hornville against St. James. Destrehan against Lutcher. The Salmon Jamboree, Covington versus Salmon. Slidell Jamboree, Lakeshore versus Slidell. The St. Helena Jamboree, Sophie B. Wright versus St. Helena. Terrebonne General Health System Jamboree at Terrebonne. Edie White Catholic versus HL's Bourgeois. South Lafourche versus Terrebonne. The Tyson Jackson Jamboree at West St. John. Frederick Douglass versus Donaldsonville. Port Allen versus West St. John. And then the West Feliciana Jamboree, Kentwood versus West Feliciana. Remember, guys, these are all area jamborees. I want to start with the River Parish Jamboree, man. Hornville St. James, VK.
That is going to be a barn burner. That is going to be a barn burner. You're not going to see you're going to see some vanilla from both teams, but I think these two teams are really playing for some bragging rights more than anything else, especially with them a rare time playing in a jamboree setting. They usually go against each other in a scrimmage, but now they're going against each other in a jamboree setting, which will lead to a regular season series soon. But I think
So you say.
I'm hoping that happens. That would be fun because they used to face Destrehan a lot. So, you know what I'm saying? So I think it'd be great if they face a regular season. I think it's going to be a great ball game between Hahnville, St. James, and even the second game. The second game is going to be a barn burner too, and Lutcher and Destrehan. I mean, the West Bank, East Bank versus St. James Parish. So I think this is going to be a fun jamboree. It's going to be a fun night. Two great games.
George?
When you look at this jamboree, Hornville, St. James, and Destrehan Lutcher, there's different storylines for all four teams. For St. James, it's our first look at them since they got to the Dome last year, and I think with the athletes that they have coming back, remember
I saw them in
they were
Oakland.
they're a very young team last year, and they got to New Orleans. They got there a little overwhelmed in that game, was close for a little bit, and then it kind of got away. And that, they were forced to get out of their element a little bit in that championship. And Hahnville, Greg Boyne did a fantastic job his first year. Looks to really take another step with this team. And that's a good litmus test right out the box, those two. Destrehan, Lutcher, Marcus Scott and company. got to the semifinals last year. Didn't quite finish the job. They lost to Ruston, and Lutcher, Dwayne Jenkins. That team was always good, but they kind of had a little miss of it last year too, losing. I think was in the quarters, if I remember right.
Round two.
Round two, yeah, they
Round two.
went out faster than they normally do. That's what I was thinking. I thought it was the quarters. Okay, I stand corrected. But there's different storylines for all four of these teams, and it makes for entertaining football. I think you're going to see a lot of high, and even in a jamboree setting, high energy, spirited competition. I think we're going to see two really solid games with these two.
I kind of agree with you. When it comes to Lutcher losing the playoffs last year, that bottom half of the bracket was just brutal.
It was.
It was a gauntlet, and they had Cecilia come to them in round two.
Mm.
Cecilia goes on to win the state championship, as you all know.
And they
So
popped them. Yep.
so it could have been, if they didn't play Cecilia, we may have a different story right now with Lutcher. So
And you
this
know,
is
this
Maybe.
what
is
happened. But moving forward, I want to see, when it comes to Destrehan and Lutcher, I want to see Destrehan, if they can have made any improvements from what I saw against when they played St. Aug last week. Has their O-line gotten better in a week's time? Has their defense gotten better for sure? Also, I want to see. I mean, you're not gonna see everything, but can they find ways to get Jabari Mack the ball other than a quick screen or something? So that's what I want to see with Destrehan. Going to Hornville and St. James. This is good for St. James, playing a tough Hornville team, a 5A team. St. James doesn't back down from no competition. So St. James, with all the weapons they got returning, you got Jawan Johnson at quarterback, the sophomore. This is a good test for Hornville. This is a good test. Hornville defense is fast. They are fast. They're not the biggest, but they are fast. So that speed can give St. James some fits. Also, Hornville's offense. I want to see them. I want to see them get it going. They didn't get it going last week. Plus, it was raining. But I want to see Hornville offense get it going. With Coach Bowen's a great offensive mind, so I want to see him get them going with that. But that River Parish Jamboree, man, I'm glad it's back, and that is going to be something special. All right, we're gonna move up a little bit, and I want to go to the Ed Daniels Classic, and I'm gonna go first on this. Brother Martin and John Errett, and I said this yesterday on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favright. I said that I want to see how Errett's defense will be able to match up with Eastern Royal, Rowan Lipscomb, and Rex LeBlanc. We saw those three have a field day in the Jamboree game last year against John Errett. And I want to see if they can be able to, I mean, not going to stop them, but can you contain them and not let them get going enough to where they got to score 30-something to 3, just like last year? Can you hold them down some? That's what I want to see with John Errett mainly. When it goes to Shaw and St. Augustine, Shaw defense, all the starters return pretty much. And to me, they have the second best defensive backfield in the city, right under Edna Carr. We're talking Rontre Carter. We're talking Jaquan Carter. We're talking Kristen Langford. And we're talking Jackson Williams, who's a Tulane commit. So I want to see how these guys match up against the weapons that St. Augustine has on offense with Vashawn Coulon at quarterback, Raekwon Williams, and Miguel Whitley at wide receiver. Patrick Robinson Jr. tore his ACL, unfortunately, but Keith Hill comes back from his torn ACL. So that's good news for St. Augustine. So I want to see how they can stop St. Augustine this year. We saw last year what happened. They couldn't stop Big Danos, Jakeem Stewart. But that's what I want to see this year. Go ahead, VK.
wow. I'm just hearing about the Patrick Robinson injury you just mentioned. I'm like, wow, that's stunning
What
to
you
hear.
mean you was there at the scrimmage? What you talking
I,
about?
no, I was there at the scrimmage, but I didn't know he was that bad.
I'm sure I told you.
No, You didn't tell me. You told me he was
Oh,
hurt.
we had this conversation earlier about people forgetting things. There we go. Yeah, you go.
No, you didn't
Yeah,
tell me.
brother. Yeah,
No, no, no,
yeah.
no, no. I swear to God, you
I
did not tell
told you.
me. You
I
told
told
me he
you.
was hurt, but you didn't say he had torn ACL. Trust me, I would have
Okay.
remembered.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would have
sure.
remembered.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Whatever. Whatever.
You're right. He get mad, George.
I ain't getting mad. I'm good. Trust me. I'd have had a tantrum. I don't have no tantrum. I'm good. But I see what you're talking about. But it's a stunning injury. You know, knowing he was supposed to be the starter from the jump and everything for this season, and it's sad to hear about him. But Key Hill, right on time too. It's two opposites happening once again. And then same thing happened with Rob. The same thing with Hill. He gets hurt. Robinson takes over. Now Hill's back. He's got to take over. So I'm curious to see what he does back, and I hope he stays healthy. The Purple Knights. One thing about them, you want to stay healthy, and the biggest thing I do want to see is the fact, what kind of offense we will see from Shaw. We know Shaw has lost a lot offensively, a lot of the weapons gone. They have some experience on the line that is back this year. And I'm just curious to see what their offense is going to kind of look like and see what kind of a rhythm that they can build on the quarterback, Alan Shaw, who's now stepping up at the quarterback spot. And also, like I said, St. Augustine, we'll see how their defense will step in as well. You know, they had to settle down against Destrehan. And Destrehan had a nice start to the scrimmage, but once St. Augustine's defense settled down, I mean, they just had at it on Destrehan. So we will see how both of these units get tested. But the most important thing for both of these teams to come out healthy, nobody getting hurt. Eric and Brother Martin, I'm very curious to see about. We know how good Brother Martin is. We know what Brother Martin brings. Can Eric bring that same intensity? Can they come in there ready to go? And not just that, having a mentality that, hey, we're coming there to win. And even if they lose, or even if they lose in a close game or win the ball game, they want to come out there with a good note, not just staying healthy, but for them to have some confidence going in the week.
Go ahead, George Peppers.
Well, let's talk about game one of the Ed Daniels Classic. And we were very fortunate to be a part of that last year. Obviously reeling from the tragic passing of Ed Daniels and this jamboree happening so soon and rightfully being renamed the Ed Daniels Classic. So when you look at this first game, Brother Martin, John Ehret, I think what you want to see from John Ehret defensively is to play assignment football better. Because nothing against Brother Martin, but Ehret really schematically was just completely overmatched in that game. Defensively, they were not very prudent in their assignments. They were letting guys get behind them on first steps, breaks. They were falling for the bites, and their back defensive backfield got worn out. Brother Martin's got some seriously talented players. Those three you mentioned, Jared, and they're going to try to emulate what they did last year for Willie Brooks and his group. They're going to have to bring it, and they're going to have to elevate their game because what could go wrong did go wrong last year because they weren't very smart defensively. Let's be honest. Schematically, they were bad last year. They were bad in that game. They looked completely whipped from the jump. Offensively, what is Aaron going to do? Silas Root, third-year starter, junior. I
Second
think
year
he's a
starter.
guy that has a chance to take some steps forward. They do have some. What's that?
Second year starter.
I missed that. Second year, I said third. Okay, yeah, remember he skipped away to Alexandria for a spell, then came back. Yes, okay. But I want to see what they do offensively in that game. Now, going to game two, Shaw got questions to answer defensively. Shaw
Go
does
ahead,
have
Sean.
some questions.
Answer them.
Why?
What
With
question
all
defensively Shaw got to answer? What you got?
let me say why. Okay, I'm going to tell you because St. Aug really owned them on the outside last year in that game. They really worked them to the perimeter last year and really won some of those matchups and were able to establish a lead and force Shaw to chase in that jamboree. I think the Purple Knights, considering what they did to Destrehan last week, and that's just a bad matchup for Destrehan. Let's call it for what it is. 2 years in a row, once as an accident, twice as a trend. I think for Destrehan, I think Marcus Scott realizes, oh boy, I don't know if my kids can hang with this St. Aug team, at least the way it's constructed.
I
And
don't think Mark
remember,
is thinking.
Vashawn
I
Coulon
don't
was
think Mark is thinking like that. No, Mark isn't
Mm,
thinking like that. Trust me, he ain't thinking like that.
no.
Because
wait.
if he wouldn't schedule him for the next 2 years as a regular season game, if he think he couldn't
Oh,
hang with him.
well, I don't know if they're saying anything, but they better improve their lot, though, Desterhan, to try to hang with that St. Aug team. Um, but when you look at, I think I'm. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh no.
See,
Oh no.
when you're speaking that falsehood,
Oh
you're speaking
no.
that falsehood about Marcus Scott. No, no, that's what happens. Marcus Scott said, "What? Clink, get him out of here."
The Destrehan people
Marcus,
that came through like
yeah, like wait a minute, what? Marcus Scott
I
ain't
can,
scared to play nobody.
I,
It's a good test for his team. He saw where he needs to make improvements, and that's what it is. Yes, St. Aug dominated the past 2 years on Destrehan. They have, and this year was to me worse than last year. But remember, guys, Marcus Scott had that happen last year. That had injuries, and then finally Jackson Fields come back, and guess what? They got to the semifinals. So don't count them out, but we're gonna bring back George Peppers. We're gonna bring him back in.
let them back.
At the St. Charles Parish School Board said, "Watch what you're saying, George." Can you hear us?
Yes, George.
Oh, but Desterhan. Okay, I can hear you. Bring me up. There you go. All right, I can hear you.
All right, go ahead.
I'm not saying anything bad. Look, Aug Desterhan will be a regular season matchup next season. I don't know who's got first dibs on a home
That's
game.
Rain.
I don't know who's going to have the first home game in that 2 game set.
That's Rain.
But we'll see what happens. So St. Aug will make the trip down. Okay. All right. But no, going back to game two, St. Aug Shaw. The Purple Knights, I don't think Shaw knew what to expect from Vashawn Coulon, first time starter in that game. And Coulon really did some things. He throws a good ball. He's got good decisiveness. Oh boy, Austin Tyler, I hear you. But he's very decisive with where he wants to go with the ball. He's got good wheels, and I think Shaw wasn't quite ready for that kind of scheme. Defensively, you mentioned that secondary is going to be lit. Rontre Carter is going to lead a very good secondary. Defensively, they're going to be right there. They were right there last year, and it got them a state championship against Ed White. But St. Augustine, VK, your alumnus has a chance to do some very special things, and this could be a linchpin kind of game where if they win it, they could springboard this into the regular season. And I know they got to deal with that in the car in the Catholic League, but St. Aug's got a chance to really be special.
Yeah, I think the Purple Knights they could do some big things this year. It's just gonna have to be 1 week at a time more than anything else to see if they can get to that level. And got the Shaw game is a good litmus for them. And then the first couple of weeks is going to be interesting for them, the matchups that they have, and especially to going against Legacy on that tag only a very good team out of Texas. So, if St. Augustine can come up with maybe a over 500 record uh going into district, that would be really, really good and good momentum going forward because the Cat League is not going to be easy, period. And the Cards are favorite, but everybody down the line is going to have something to say about it. So, you know, I, the Purple Knights are expected to do some big things, but I think it's 1 week at a time for St. Augustine. 1 week at a time.
St. Aug's gonna be a great team. So everybody that's watching right now, I want to invite you all back tomorrow, and I would like for y'all to go ahead and tell other people to come on and watch. Because tomorrow we're gonna talk about who we think will get to the semifinals of each division, and then we're gonna pick who's going to the championship, and we're gonna also pick who we think will raise that state championship trophy as state champions. We want you all to come back tomorrow, right here on the Hash It Out show, as we're gonna start at 7 o'clock. Also, everybody who's watching, there's a new show that's gonna start on Sunday, every Sunday during the football season at 6:15 p.m. That's going to involve Jordan Taylor, Nick Campbell, and myself. It's called the Boot Breakdown. So we're starting this on Sunday at 6:15. You all can tune in and watch it at 6:15 on Sundays. Jordan Taylor from Under the Lights, Nick Campbell, who does the River
The Nick
Parishes,
Network.
yeah, the Nick Network, and myself. Since they asked me, I said, sure, not a problem. So, so we got that going on. The Boot Breakdown / breakdown on the boot. So, with that being said, like I said, we're back tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Last words, fellas. VK.
Well, congrats on your opportunity, man. You know what I'm saying? Big ups to Jordan Taylor starting a brand new project, new show. You know what I'm saying? I think that's gonna be another hub for people to come to check out Louisiana sports more than anything else, man. So big ups to you guys and wish y'all the best on Sunday nights. We're looking forward to checking it out. I think it's gonna be a good home for a lot of Saints recap and LSU recap and stuff like that, man. So I hope
Ain't no Saints or LSU recap.
Oh,
We are
it's gonna be
we are talking
strictly
strictly
high
Right.
school.
high school football. Geez, this is talking about what happened during the week or the games, and then we're gonna preview games coming up the following week. So that's basically what it is. Go ahead,
Okay,
VK.
cool. Regardless of the fact, wish y'all the best on that
Thank you.
platform. You know what I'm saying? So, man, good show tonight. And Joseph Halm really gave some insight on this North Shore and everything else, man. And tomorrow we do state predictions. So everybody in the state, we're not talking about just Southeast Louisiana and Southwest. We talking about everybody. Come on through. We making our state predictions. Come on through because we might call your name. So come through tomorrow. Looking forward to it, man, and a good time. One more week for the Hash It Out Show game of the week. Cannot wait.
Definitely. So look, we're gonna do our state predictions, and the plan is to be done at 8:30. And then when we done at 8:30, y'all can jump to Under the Lights because they're doing theirs also. Their state predictions right after. So you can get two shows back to back, baby. Tomorrow, us at 7 o'clock. Plan to be done by 8:30, and then you can jump to them. George Peppers, what's your last words?
And get your football fixed tomorrow night. That's for sure. And Jared, I want to
Definitely.
also express. I also, before I say anything, I want to express my sincere congratulations to you, man. Well done. Yeah, it's a
Thank you.
deserved opportunity. I'm sure you guys are gonna rock it. The boot breakdown. VK trying to throw some mainstream stuff in there. What if there's to be some parking lessons? I don't know. Just asking. I'm just asking. He ain't never gonna live that down. There's a few things he ain't never gonna live down. What was that saying he said a few years ago? Not all money is good money. Okay.
Something like
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But no, it was a good show tonight. Joseph Holm, always an entertaining talk interview. And tomorrow night, I'm going to set up the state predictions. I'm going to write it down, file it away, carry it with us for a 14-week journey. 15, well, 14 broadcasting the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week for the third year. So I will have the predictions in tow. This way, we can't hear about. Well, I thought I picked them. It's gonna be in black ink, guys. It's gonna be in black ink. I have it planned. G2 always works. Just saying. But looking forward to tomorrow night. Who will we pick? We're not telling y'all. Y'all got to tune in 7 o'clock tomorrow night on the Hash It Out Show. And as VK says, and because he always has first dibs, like, tag, share, and subscribe to the JB the Sports Guy and check out the website. Lots of great content. We're going to post some more great content as we embark on this journey we call the 2025 football season, gentlemen. It's going to be fun. We get to do this tomorrow night one more time from the comforts of home, and then we can convene for the jamboree and then get ready to hit the road. Just want to know what the weather's going to be, and we hope it cooperates. I think we're supposedly supposed to have a good weekend weather-wise, so let's hope for that.
I heard
But we will talk
scattered
at you tomorrow
showers.
night. Jared, take us home, dude.
I heard scattered showers Friday
Oh,
and Saturday. That's,
hmm
That's what I heard. So we'll see.
I heard stormy on Saturday too.
That's hit or miss. That's that hit or miss stuff, though.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be,
We'll see.
hopefully.
All right, guys. Like I said, tune back in tomorrow. Prediction show. Who's getting to the semis? Who's getting to the championship game? Who wins the championship? We did districts already. So now let's pick and see who's getting that state championship trophy. Who's going to raise it high? I got another thing in the chat. Who we got? Who said something? Kenny Ramonde. When you announce and schedule for broadcast, hey, man, I already did that. I already did that, Kenny. I did it on Instagram. I did it on Facebook. But you know what, Kenny? I got something for you, brother. Sit tight. I got something for you, Kenny. You know, since you asking, Kenny, I got something for you. Boom, Kenny. There you go, man. I did it for you, Kenny. It's on the Instagram page, the Hash It Out Show. It's on Facebook, Jared JB. Not Jared JB, Jared Sports Guy Boyd. VK Jones for Sean Jones. He also posted it on Facebook. So it's there. Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it. All right. We'll see y'all mañana tomorrow. Everybody come back. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. Whole lot of y'all today. See y'all tomorrow for predictions. And look, when we do the predictions tomorrow, if you disagree with us, put it in the chat. Put who y'all think's gonna go. We want to interact with all y'all. So everybody put it in. We're trying to go from 7 to 8:30 tomorrow with our picks. Till tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all. Y'all take care.
If you're looking for the best pizza in Metro New Orleans, then you're in the right place. Moe's Pizza has a great selection of Italian food that can satisfy your appetite, and they can also cater to your needs in any event. Give them a call at 504-341-9650 or log on to www.moespizzanola.com, located at 1112 Avenue H in West Wego, Louisiana. Moe's Pizza, Italians do it better.
Hi, I'm Erica Randolph, head coach of the Hahnville Tigers boys basketball team, and you are watching the Hash It Out Show.
You had to come back right quick. Once again, if you park in a parking spot with nobody over there, why would somebody else, especially your friend, park right next to you? That's that VK Jones effect. He parked next to me. Yeah, he did that, as I'm talking about him right now, but he ain't there. He gone. You see, he didn't want to face the truth again because he knew I was coming back with it. Anyway, 50 parking spots. He gonna park next to me. What sense that made? Anyway, y'all. Anyway, everybody, y'all tune in tomorrow. We love y'all.